Welcome back to News 12 Now. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is preparing to make his speech before Congress. Fox News correspondent Trey Yingst has more from Tel Aviv.
The protests are underway on Capitol Hill ahead of a highly anticipated speech by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. On Wednesday, he becomes the first foreign leader to address the U.S. Congress 4 times, making the case for continued American support as an unpopular war drags on. On Tuesday, Netanyahu shoring up support among evangelical leaders in Washington.
I want to thank you for your incredible support at all times, and especially in these trying times. We have no better friends than you.
A growing number of Democrat lawmakers are skipping the address, and some are framing their lack of support for Netanyahu as a concern for what they say is serious damage being done to Israel's relationship with the U.S.
He continues to put his own political survival first, above the interests of the people of Israel.
Protesters here in Tel Aviv voicing the same concerns, claiming Netanyahu doesn't have a plan to win the war or bring the hostages back safely.
We came to protest in order for the Prime Minister to stop the abandonment of the hostages.
But Netanyahu's supporters in Israel and the U.S. tell a different story. They say the Prime Minister is working hard under enormous pressure to bring the war to a close, and the criticism is only encouraging Israel's enemies.
These protesters are being applauded today by Hezbollah, by Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Iran, Sinwar. That's really what they're accomplishing.
Also skipping the speech, Vice President Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic nominee. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Well, we all know Texoma is growing, and soon a small Texoma town with about 100 residents will greatly expand. This month, a nearly 700-acre master plan community known as Cottonwood broke ground in Dorchester. But the proposed Black Mountain Dorchester cement kiln would be built about a mile and a half from that development. Now, this has some residents concerned about the potential environmental and health risk from being that close to the kiln. Now, if you want to submit a comment about your opinion of the project, just visit this story on our website at KXII.com to learn how. Choctaw Nation leaders recently sent a letter of opposition to a federal agency about a proposed hydropower project in Pushmataha County. The Southeast Oklahoma Power Corporation is proposing a pump storage hydroelectric project using moving water as a renewable energy source to generate electricity. The proposed hydropower project includes a transmission line that will run from the Kiamichi River south to Paris, Texas. The sovereignty of tribal land and the presence of various mussels within Kiamichi River are just a couple of reasons why Tribal Council says they will continue trying to protect their homeland and community. Well, a new survey says 4 in 10 Americans think a text feels naked without some sort of icon. Fox's Kendall Green takes this to the streets to learn what New Yorkers have to say about it.
Last year, we learned there's a way to determine someone's age by how they type out a text. Most younger texters use both thumbs, but the older generation tends to peck away with the index finger. Now we're learning some text messages are considered incomplete or naked if they don't include an emoji.
If it's something funny or like we're joking or just having a casual conversation, I would expect them to use emojis.
A survey by Talker Research polling 2,000 Americans 21 and older found 4 in 10 people considered text messages without emojis naked. Samuel agrees.
It smoothens the conversation, like it makes it like light instead of serious all the time.
Do you think this is a Gen Z thing?
Yeah.
And well, it is. 70% of Gen Zers agreed. Text messages needed to include emojis, but some admit they don't think like their peers.
If you're giving me like a one-word answer, that's all I consider like dry or incomplete.
It is an accepted part of communication.
Clinical psychologist Dr. Jeffrey Gardier.
For some people, there is the pressure to have to use them. For other people, when they're completely missing from what it is that they're writing, they couldn't care less because that's not the way they were brought up.
Regarding Gen X, though, they were nearly split down the middle, as 46% felt their messages needed emojis.
Emojis that make you like see better what the argument is, and very specific. I think it's more specific.
It's nice for people to learn words that can express their feelings.
Kendall Green, Fox 5 News.
Well, some exciting news out of the Olympics. Salt Lake City will host the 2034 Winter Olympic Games. The International Olympic Committee voting this week to bring the Olympics back to Utah, which will make it the first time the state hosts the Games since 2002. Athletes and former Olympic medalists say they are excited the Games are coming back to the Beehive State. CEO of the Utah Sports Commission says they have been maintaining the facilities over the years and the venues are actively used throughout the year.
You have the opportunity to make your first Olympics in front of your family and friends that know your story. It was exhilarating.
Certainly a key piece of our competitive advantage in the bid were the venues. You know, we've got world-class venues that are already being utilized.
The plan presented to the committee today requires no new construction, with all 13 venues already in place, many of which have been improved since 2002. And while the announcement of Utah has excited many, the Paris 2024 Games are just days away, but some athletes' dreams of competing on the world stage were cut short. CBS's Leah Minchkin reports from London.
Ukrainian wrestler Oksana Rakra fulfilled her childhood dream. She competed in the 2008 Beijing Olympics.
That's the memory for the life.
The mother of two credits her success to her training. A lot of it took place at this facility in Ukraine. It was destroyed in the war. That war is what brings us here to Parliament Square in London.
I'm here just to help raise the voice of all athletes who've been killed.
The Ukrainian Ministry of Youth and Sports says at least 487 Ukrainian athletes have died since Russia's invasion. Many of them will never have the chance to go for their Olympic dreams. This is 11-year-old Katerina Dyachenko. We're told a Russian aerial bomb hit her home, killing the gymnast and her entire family.
That's our future. So that's very sad.
Ukraine will have its smallest representation in its history at the Summer Olympic Games.
There will be 140 athletes representing Ukraine. But when I was in the Olympic Games, that number was doubled.
The chair of Association of Ukrainians in Great Britain says this display honoring athletes who have died is another level of support.
When people are watching the Olympics, just remember that there's still a war in Ukraine and we all need to unite together.
Some of the Ukrainian athletes on their way to Paris parted from their families with a heavy heart, knowing anything can happen at any moment in an ongoing war, a worry that travels with them to the Games, each one pledging to do everything to make their country and families proud. Leah Mishkin, CBS News, London.
Thank you for watching today's News 12 Now. Make sure to subscribe so you find out why Texoma turns to us. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where you'll see more social media exclusive content. Want more News 12 Now? Watch us live every weekday through the KXII app on your phone or TV and through our website.